The number of glitches is just unbelievable. The number of times exams have got cancelled, and really there is absolutely no excuse for the complete lack of preparation. Some of them have got so frustrated that they refuse to come for the next round of exams. I mean, how much can you force a child? And then the parents have been forced to take admission for those who can afford it, or even taking loans, take a seat in a private university. Students coming from modest backgrounds will not be able to afford all this expensive coaching and so on, which will help you to crack this so-called exam. Chairperson of the UGC announced sometime, I think, in March, that from April, the forms of CUET will be out and there'll be a common entrance exam for all central universities across the country. And it will be implemented from this year. So we were absolutely shocked that, what is the preparation that has been done for something like this? I have been talking to students who have just finished their class 12, and they are completely depressed. They've been coming repeatedly to these examination centers. Either the center is changed at the last minute and then they are not allowed to give the exam again, or they are, told at the last minute that there was a glitch, it didn't work. So some of them have got so frustrated that they refuse to come for the next round of exams. I mean, how much can you force a child? So the students are now having to go to private universities, which was not their first choice. Those private universities had a large number of seats which they were not able to fill up, but now you have a large number of students moving in that direction. So it's extremely unfair to the students who are being treated like guinea pigs. Plus, when the result comes, we don't know what will happen, because if this is the credibility of the technical levels of the organizers of this exam, there is no credibility even in the result that will come out later. Who knows whether the results are accurate, whether they've actually tested the ability of the students, and we are dreading that. I mean, it's extremely unfair to the people who've been, say, topping all their lives in their schools, and suddenly they'll get some random mark and they don't know why they're out of the whole system. They cannot get admission to any university because in that one exam, we don't know who corrected it and on what basis they gave them the marks. They got some marks which are not high enough. So how is it good for anybody? It's really unfair to this particular batch of students, and also to their teachers, who are going to now deal with students who may not really be properly equipped to learn the subject, because we don't know from the MCQ test whether they really have the ability to reason or to write or to think or to read. We really don't know. To make, I mean, where do you stay? And, each time you come, you have to pay more money, and somebody has to bear the cost. So, this whole conduct of this huge exam, you have all these employees, it's an additional burden. So students from modest backgrounds people will have to pay for this extra exam that they're doing. And why? I mean, when in a country where your already livelihood is a big concern, as it is, jobs are not there, people have lost their livelihood, especially in the last 2 years. It is an very, very unkind thing to do. On top of everything else, in fact, education should be made free for people, because it's the only way that people, the citizens, can actually empower themselves. But on the other hand, we're making it more and more difficult to access education, and adding to the cost and the burden and the stress. You're right. People have to come to different centers, move out of their place of work, and keep coming, and when the exam gets cancelled, they go back and then they have to come again. It is so unfair. It has been a big disaster. We are all very upset about it, because you see, because of the pandemic for 2 years, our academic calendars have been completely disturbed. Now that was a little out of our hands, because students couldn't actually take exams, so the delay was unavoidable earlier. This time, the delay has been caused by a very wrong and rash decision taken about the CUET. I mean, say, for example, in Delhi, we have 4 different central universities, Delhi University, which is primarily an undergraduate university, we are primarily functioning in our colleges, through our colleges. In JNU, you have mostly the emphasis on research, right? And in IGNU, it is, distance education. And the fourth is Jamia, which has its own special character and its own strengths. So we also design our own entrance or admission process in keeping with our needs. So it is definitely an attack on the autonomy of our university. Part of the work of the university is to have its own admissions process, its own recruitment process, courses, and so on and so forth. They want this uniformity across universities, which are very diverse. And it doesn't work. One shoe size doesn't fit all. They should have started small. I mean, I do believe that 12 or 14 central universities that were started in 2009, the new ones, they had been experimenting with common entrance exams for some years. So we should have found out from them what are their experiences, what are the glitches. So even if they wanted to bring it about, even though we were opposed to it, even in principle, but if you had to do it, surely you could have spent a year preparing it for it, and instead of having a complete mess and chaos.